So the incredible jazz standard, All the Things You Are by Jerome Kern. I like to call it All the Chords You Are. And today's lesson is 10 steps to internalize those chord changes. If you really want to play a standard, it's not enough just to be able to play the chords and know the chords. Internalizing them, hearing them, feeling them, knowing them without thought. That's where we want to ultimately head with every standard we learn. Everything you see on the screen is available as PDF, so check the link in the description for that. Step 1. The form. So the form of this one is A. So here's the chart on the screen, and the first 3 sections are all 8 bars in length. They've labelled A1, A2, and then B, and then finally A3. So A1, A2, B, they're all 8 bars, and interestingly the final A section, so A3, is 12 bars, which is the same I think as My Funny Valentine actually. So it's a 36 bar standard. Point 2 is know your chord shapes and know where you're going to play them. Now I've got the chord shapes and suggested fingers in a separate PDF for you guys, but let's just play through the changes of each section. So section A1, so here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, F minor 7, so this is the A1, B flat minor 7, going to E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat major 7 to G7 to C. I'm going to make that C minor for the start of the next section, back to F minor, this time a B flat 7 to E flat major 7, A flat major 7, and this A half diminished D7 G major, then a little E7 9 passing into the next section of the song, A minor to D7, back to G major, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 into E major 7, and then a C7 sharp 5, which takes us back for the final A, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat major 7, G13, C minor 7, then B diminished 7th, and then B flat minor 7, E flat 7 to A flat major 7, then this minor 2 5 there. You've got to have a place where to play the chords on the neck. Obviously there's other shapes you could use, different places you could play them. I put it on the neck where I think it's efficient in terms of easy-ish chord changes, but doesn't necessarily mean it's easy for everyone, but try those to start with. Point 3 is comping. So you've worked on the shapes and maybe moving between them. Next thing is to try and put it in time. You could start really slowly, 1 strum per bar, like, or per chord I should say, so like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, like that, or 4 to the bar. Now you want to work towards not having the chart in front of you, so maybe, it depends how your memory is and how you work at memorizing things, but maybe you could try and memorize each section in turn, or do a mixture of playing with and without the chart. That's cool. And it may be that you have specific difficulties with some of the chord changes. If that's the case, then you just need to isolate those little pockets in the tune and work on them until you can get them smooth before having to go at the whole thing. And number 4, don't just play these chords. Ask yourself, what's that chord there for? What's it trying to do? So for me, there's certain chords which are really pivotal in this song. Let's go. I'll pick them out where they come up. So we've got the opening. Here's the D flat major 7, and this next chord is key, the G7, because it takes us to C. And then this next bit is really pivotal because that moves us to C minor. And the next important chord is the next one, so the A minor 7 flat 5 to the D7 because it takes us to the G. And then this E7 sets you up to go to the A, back to the G, and then this F sharp minor 7 flat 5 is a gateway again to another place. These chords are always taking us somewhere. There's the E, stable, but then that C7 sharp 5 comes out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, okay, that's trying to take us somewhere, taking us back to the start. So try and sort of listen to the chords. What's the effect of that chord change? What's it trying to do, that chord? Is it a stable chord? Is it quite an unstable chord? Is it trying to take you somewhere? Number 5 is recognize parallel cases when you're presented with them. So it's very easy to learn a lot of standards and not make connections between them, which is a real shame when people do that. So all of these standards are really drawing upon many conventional chord movements. This one might pull you around a bit, but there's still lots of conventional things going on. And take that B section, A minor 7, D7 to G, and then that F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 to an E. Now, just think of a typical standard, most of you will know, Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves in the key of E minor starts with A minor 7, D7, G major 7. It's 2-5-1. And then in the song we do get, after, albeit without the C major 7 chord, we do get F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7, but in Autumn Leaves it goes to an E minor. In this instance we go to E major. So there's an argument for a parallel case there. You know, there's some similarities between those two there, and there'll be many other points in the song where there'll be other similarities with other songs you know, and it's important to be able to sort of recognise these and go, oh, okay, that's the same thing that happens in Autumn Leaves, maybe albeit a little bit different, but it's still roughly the same thing. And for me, recognising these parallel cases of similar things going on is a way to aid your memory of these songs and understanding. Point 6 is memorise the chords, and I touched upon this earlier. But ultimately, you don't want the real book, you don't want my chart in front of you, you want no chords. If you're going to play this with other people, you do not want a barrier of a music stand with a book in front of it. You want to be able to make eye contact with those you're playing with or the audience you're playing with. Playing for. And this will be different for all of you. All of my viewers are looking at the stats on my YouTube. You're all at very varying age groups. And, I don't have the best memory and I have to work hard at memorising chord structures. But you can do it even if you don't have a good memory. And ways to do it, break it down into the sections that it's already in, so just work on, don't think about memorising the whole thing to begin with, just think the first 8 bars. Real basic thing you can do is mix between playing with the chart and playing without. And one thing I would do in this instance with your memory is to practice how you react to forgetting a chord. So let's say I forget the E flat 7 in bar 3. So I go F minor 7, B flat minor 7, I could go, oh, what's the next chord? Oh. Or what I could do, if I can still remember what chord the 4th bar is, so A flat major 7, I could just go, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, then just go. Now that might sound a bit weird, but you don't lose the timing and you don't, have that stop-start thing. If you're playing with other people, and especially if there's other instruments, you can probably get away with it. Definitely get away with it more than stopping or losing your place and letting that, forgetting that one chord affect your performance of the piece. Point 7 is to really attach the melody to these chords, and this will aid your memory. So one thing you could do is play and sing the melodies. Go da 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 da, and go through the form like that and sing it and play those chords. I think that helps because, as ever, the notes are picked for their impact with that chord at that moment in time. Link the chords to the melody and you should find it easier to remember both. Point number 8, think about the chords all of the time. If you're having a shower, you're thinking about the chords to all the things you are. If you're cooking, you're thinking about the chords to all you are. If you're walking, whatever you're doing, you're thinking about those chords. I kid you not, my morning shower, I pick a standard that I feel I know well. I pick a random key and then I try and think through the chords for that standard. I could be doing house chores, I'm humming the melody, or thinking of the chords, or thinking of the melody, or I'm imagining a solo that I'm playing over it. And point number 9, keep thinking about those chords all of the time. And why? Because you've internalized the chords when you don't even have to hear someone play the chords or hear the song, but you can hear the song up here without any music going on. Point number 10, try this song in another key. Now that might seem pretty crazy with something as full on as this song. Well, you can obviously do this with other simpler standards, but believe me, when you work a song through different keys, rather than sort of confusing you and confusing what you know, providing you know it really well in the standard key, doing it in other keys will just reinforce those chord changes, those relationships between those chord changes. It will really give your harmonic knowledge a real push in the right direction too. At this point in the video, I'd like to turn it over to you. Have you got any other tips for memorising jazz standards, whether it be the melody or the chords? Do you find it difficult to remember them? Do you forget them? Do you get frustrated with that? There's lots of challenges with this. Thanks as ever for tuning in. I'll put a couple of videos on the screen for you to check out. How to place chords, which I think is very important when you're learning jazz standards and memorising them. And also my video lesson on the chords to Autumn Leaves. I think that's a really important standard to understand and know very thoroughly. Anyway, thanks as ever for tuning in. If it's your first time on my channel, my name's Andy and I do jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. Please consider hitting that subscribe button. Until next time, you guys take care.